Hi
Okay,
there,
yes, go.
welcome to the True
Oh,
Goon.
wait. Do it in a sec. Sorry, I was talking there.
Hi there, welcome to the True Gooner podcast. This is a weekly show where I'm going to be discussing all things Arsenal once a week. Well, this week we've got there's some news on the takeover and the
The biggest
Newcastle,
game of the season.
and the Villarreal game, of course, and obviously we have the Newcastle win at the weekend. But yeah, I'm here with Denny. How you doing?
I am very good, mate. Obviously we enjoyed a 2-0 victory on the weekend. Obviously, realistically, it doesn't really mean much. Obviously, you'd like to climb up the table more. Hopefully, finish above certain few teams. Team in North London, a small team. I can't remember the name. Very very small team. You want to finish above them, really. But nah. Listen, it's more of a momentum game, to take into the next game for us now. Premier League. I believe we've got 4 left, and so I think from that game, we'll just jump onto that straight away. I think it helps with Aubameyang getting a goal, Martinelli assist as well,
Yeah,
and it just gives the team a bit more spirit, I guess. But still a lot of work to do on Thursday.
yeah, definitely, of course. That win was it was so comfortable.
Yeah,
Newcastle never really nearly threatened us because I was expecting a bit more of a harder game because Newcastle are pretty much safe, but I was expecting them to give it more to make sure they're definitely safe.
I
But
agree.
never really felt threatened by them during the game. Yeah,
Yeah, I completely agree. To be fair, and also, to be fair, I was I was doing something for the last pretty much as soon as Aubameyang, just before Aubameyang scored, I had to go, which was kind of annoying. But yes, but I was watching the game. I watched the first 65 minutes, then I had to go, unfortunately. But yeah, it felt like one of them. It was sort of like the Sheffield United, very similar to the Sheffield United game. I think you can say, just very calm, very simple. And last time we had a game like that. The Thursday game we went into, we absolutely destroyed Slavia Prague. So hopefully we can absolutely destroy Villarreal and Unai Emery.
yeah, definitely. But if we are to do that, then we do have to play a lot better than we did in the first leg.
100%.
Yeah, to be fair, like you said, Slavia Prague, we didn't play well the first leg, and then the second leg we played brilliantly. Olympiacos, it was a role reversal, played brilliantly first leg.
You might not agree if I don't know, it's a bit different. I think because of the circumstances as well. We were worse in our 1-1 draw against Slavia Prague than we were our 2-1 game, because I still feel like the second half, even though we weren't great, we did create chances all game. And as Arsenal fans this season, we've seen it a lot. We create chances, but we're just not there to have the cutting edge. And listen, I don't think we need to explain as fans, or players don't need to understand how big this game. You need to know how big this game is from the get-go. Really, semi-final in any competition, but especially this. You pass back into the Champions League, and yeah,
Absolutely, you couldn't agree more. This game is actually so important for the players, most players as well,
Arteta.
and Mikel Arteta as well, because yes, he's under a lot of pressure. But however, history does sense that whenever he's under pressure, he does seem to put it out the bag. You saw in the FA Cup last season when we played Man City and Chelsea, and you also saw in the Chelsea game at Boxing Day, and you also saw throughout this Europa League run so far against Benfica, Slavia Prague, and now hopefully he can get it right.
Even
On
even
Thursday.
to it. Even to an extent, the Community Shield. I mean, obviously, Community Shield ain't something you're going to be raving about after winning, but still had to beat Liverpool, who at the time were one of the best teams in the world of football. So still
True.
got to do it. And I know I understand lineups, Community Shield. I'm not trying to say we're better than Liverpool, but my point is, you've still got to beat them, and we did. And yeah, I completely agree. We have turned up in big games. However, we have also I do agree about that, but we have also shied away from quite a few big games. And I can name a couple off my head: the 3-0 against Liverpool, the both games against Man City, really, the
Of course.
Olympiacos game last season.
Yeah.
Not the away leg. To be fair, we
Yeah.
dealt with that quite well. But the game at the Emirates, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, What do you actually reckon this is on? Do you think it's a concentration problem? Do you think it's a mentality problem? Do you think players good enough? Do you think
It's a really good question. I think you have to say it's a complete combination of all the factors involved, also including the players, the manager, the board, everything that's going on really. And it's quite annoying as an Arsenal fan when as soon as things start to look rosy again, bang, there we go. We'll get thingy. And like, for example, if we put that even into context now, we'd probably beat Newcastle like we did. We'd go for against Villarreal. We'd beat, is it West Brom?
West
West
Brom.
Brom, but then lose 3-0 to Chelsea.
Yeah,
That's how our season is looking. We go on a little run, and then bang, it hits us. And we've been hit hard this season. You've got to say, really. Too many times we've just not had it. And, you know, it's easy to blame the players. It's easy to blame Arteta from what point of view you are at. I think as a collective, there are a lot of questions to be asked. However, I'd probably shift the blame more on the players from my point of view.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you actually think about it, we have got some good players. The keeper's very good. The left back is good. Gabriel was good. Partey, Lacazette, Abambi, Pepe, Smith Rowe, Saka. So we do have some good individuals, but I just don't think we're quite together as a team. I just don't think it's that.
And that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? It's about gelling together as a team. I mean, you take Liverpool for an example. They bought their players, and the season where Salah, like his first season back in the Premier League, it was amazing. Liverpool only finished fourth that year, and I believe that was the year they signed Van Dijk. And once these things start to glue together, and once again, I'm not saying we are going to be getting absolutely taking away the lead from people, but my point is that we can follow steps. And like I think like what a lot of Arsenal fans know and some don't know is we do have a very, very good team. It's just when it glues together. And I feel like we have been quite unlucky this season. And not a lot of people really take that into perspective. But you think to yourself, number one, VAR has not helped us out at all. But
it's a disgrace.
Taking it off of that, and the player's point of view, what player have we had apart from probably Xhaka, who has been, and now he's in left back, what player have we had where they've not had a problem for at least over 2 weeks period? You can't really name one. I think, obviously, maybe Leno, but he got that red card against Wolves, obviously. Cedric Cedric hasn't really been given a chance. Bellerin really just not good enough. Chambers has obviously just came back, and you just go over the entire team. Obviously, Abami and Gabriel got COVID. It's just this. It's all over the place, really. And obviously, we know about Thomas Partey and Kieran Tierney. To be fair, Partey starting to get going now, getting the minutes in, and
looks trying to get to the Premier League.
Yeah,
he's a very good player.
But for the second year in a row now, we're starting to see Kieran Tierney. You know, he gets injured too much, and for how good he is, it's very unlucky to have him injured one week, then not the next. It's very unbalanced at the moment in terms of what our team is, and I feel like even though Arteta is changing it a lot, sometimes I think his hands are tied, and he has to, because you look at the team we have, and one week this player's here, and I think a prime example is Southampton in the FA Cup. Everyone was going, "Oh, he's just done that because he doesn't see the FA Cup as a big threat." But like he said, players are knackered, and for example, Smith Rowe couldn't play that game, and everyone was moaning at him for it. And I remember that, and then he ended up being quite injured, and you just have to. Sometimes we don't know everything that's going on, I think.
No, we don't. That is very true. It's very true that we don't sometimes do know what is going on. But yeah, like you said, with Kieran Tierney, and do you actually reckon in the January transfer window we've made a mistake not bringing in a left back?
100%. I think the option who I also want in the summer was Ryan Bertrand. Really, I don't know if this is 100% true, but I believe his contract is out at the end of the season.
Yeah, it is. I don't think he's renewed it, so yeah.
Yeah, from what I know, yeah. So I think once just go in for it, maybe Arsenal have looked at that and thought January we're going to have to pay 15 million, or June or July, whatever it is, we'll pay no money. Maybe it's a bit of a plan by Arsenal, but listen, I still think it is a bit of a mistake. I would have rather have us paid the money. But yeah, listen, things happen, I guess, and we'll see in the summer if that was the idea.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's coming close. The summer transfer window. We can already see that we've been linked with a few players such as Basuma and Max Aaron's, a whole host of right backs. So it does look like Arsenal will be prioritising the full-back and the centre midfield position, maybe the striker if Lacazette doesn't sign. However, we have got Balogun, who's just signed, and also Nketiah is out of contract. No, he only has. He's coming down to the last year as well. So
isn't it a year and 2 months he's got left or something now?
Yeah. So on that situation, do you actually feel we could do with another striker? Lacazette has actually had a good season, to be fair, and Aubameyang hasn't so much, because I think Aubameyang has just had a lot of things going on with parents, malaria, and
he had a calf injury. I think a lot of people forget that he had a calf injury for about 2 to 3 weeks. Remember, he did miss the Boxing Day game. He missed the game against Everton away. He missed the game, and he just came back for the Brighton game. Remember that. And strikers in the summer. It's weird, because this is the thing, and I feel like this is where Arsenal fans sometimes are a bit too, not greedy, but a bit too, like, they moan at Arteta when someone doesn't get played, but when we're realistically overloaded in these type of positions. For example, this is where my point. We have Aubameyang, Martinelli, Balogun. They're 3 strikers right there. Just say Aubameyang never plays on the left wing again. This is exactly that leads, obviously. We've got 3 strikers there.
Yeah, but
okay, and then we've got wingers. Hang on, and let me get onto this. I really do want to put this point out. On the wing, we have Pepe, Saka, we have Nelson, we have Martinelli. Yeah, to be fair, Martinelli. But listen, I'd be happy to if next season it was Aubameyang, Martinelli and Balogun as our 3 strikers, kind of rotating around the season. Maybe one game here we'd see a Balogun or Martinelli as the striker in the Premier League, only in the games where they don't really matter in terms of maybe like the last game of the season, or one of them ones where it's a bit thingy, but we have to rely on them, obviously. But listen, we have so many places up for grabs here, and this is like my point. For example, everyone wants to see Reece Nelson in a team, but if we get a striker, then that forces Saka, Pepe, Martinelli, Aubameyang, all as wingers. That's 4 wingers, and I'm sorry, Reece Nelson ain't better than them. So if we overload in these positions, then people are going to be complaining about the teams, and that's why I feel like if we did buy a striker, that would make Balogun, Martinelli miss even more minutes, and we don't want to see that as Arsenal fans, as we clearly can see this season.
Yeah, you definitely mentioned about the lack of the sort of options we do have, which is not looking good for the future. But when you spoke about people having to go at Arteta and all that, do you think that he has mismanaged this Martinelli situation? Because this is where a lot of fans are complaining, because even me myself saying he should be starting more. But I understood it at the start with the injury setbacks, but now when you've just seen he's come on, every time he comes on, he looks sharp. Do you now think it is time now he does need to be starting more?
We'll only find out in the future, I guess. But you know what? Like, for example, I think City had this problem with Foden. They wanted to see him more, and Guardiola was saying, "Listen, they're kids at the end of the day, and you don't want to run them out." I think that's the saying. Can't remember exactly what the saying is, but listen, you can't force players. And yes, I know people might go, "Oh, but you use Saka." I just feel like, let's not forget as well, Martinelli is 19 years old. He comes from Brazil. In terms of, he doesn't, he has to grasp his way in. He's still very, very young. And he does have to wait his turn sometimes. And I'm sorry, sometimes as a younger player, you're going to get a bit of a kick in the teeth, finding out you're not here or you're not there. And that's the way of football, really. And listen, I love him. I love him a lot, and I want him to start these games. But for example, to be fair, on Thursday, I'd like to see him play, but if he weren't in that team with the right players in, I wouldn't be hurt by it.
Yeah. Well, let's hear your team for Thursday. Who would you play?
So for my team on Thursday, so obviously, Arsenal fans might not know. We mostly probably do. Lacazette and Tierney obviously in training, so that's a big boost to the team. So I'll go off what I know from that. So I'd go Leno in goal.
Yeah.
I'd go Cedric at right back. I think Cedric is our best right back, to be honest. After obviously Slavia Prague, he made like 2 mistakes in the space of about 30 seconds, and then for some reason has kind of been a bit wiped out of the team, which is very confusing.
Also, that mistake against Villa, Cedric made, and I think you can't really judge it based on two.
Yeah.
Yes, there were 2 critical and silly mistakes. Overall, when he's come in,
I think the Villa one was more of a miscommunication instead of a mistake, because I sometimes highlight that out, because in his mind he's probably thinking, I think it was Gabriel. Gabriel will have that easy. But then Gabriel thinks I think communication and miscommunication and mistakes are 2 completely different things. Remember, you might not remember, you might do. First game of the season, literally about 20 seconds in, Gabriel let the ball go to Leno, and Leno thought Gabriel was going to go and get it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
See, in Gabriel's mind, he's thinking Leno's got that easy. In Leno's mind, he's thinking Gabriel's got that easy. So I think, you can't read people's minds in that sort of way. And obviously to make that into Cedric's, obviously, Villa thing, I know I've dragged that on a bit there, but I just feel like with that mistake there. So for me, apart from the Slavia Prague game, he's actually been quite spot on for me. So yeah, I'd go Leno, I'd go Cedric. If David Luiz is fit, because I'm hearing a few things that but I'm hearing a few things that he could be okay. But if he's fit, I'd play him and Gabriel. If not, I'd go Gabriel and Pablo Mari. And I know people have a problem with 2 left-footed centre backs. I don't think it would be the world of pain.
Mikel Arteta's never plays that, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
I don't think it would be the world of pain. And then at left back, I'd go Kieran Tierney. Midfield, I'd go Xhaka, partner in Partey. I think we've missed that midfield spine, to be fair. And what you do notice is, so we've been on a bit of a bad run, not as reminiscent as the one we did go in November/December. But what you notice is Partey was injured during that time. And when Partey and Xhaka were playing together in the midfield, we looked much stronger. And I think a lot of people are going to forget that. But I think if we get them to go in again, and then maybe bring in the likes of Basuma in the transfer window, we'd have a lot of firepower in there. Absolutely. And then I'd go them 2. And then on the right-hand side, I'd go Saka. Yeah. On the left, I'd go Martinelli. Because I feel like Pepe's been very good. But I just feel like Martinelli, I feel like, I'd be happy to. However, I'd probably bring on Pepe in like around the 65th minute region, depending obviously on the outcomes of the game. Obviously, if we're winning 3-0, just leave it, bring on your El Nenis and stuff like that then. And then down the middle, I'd go...
In that number 10, yeah.
I'd play Odegaard. I feel like something I've kind of picked up when watching us. Smith Rowe works better with Lacazette, because Smith Rowe likes to do the running and likes to cut it back to the player or pass it to the player so they can score. Whereas I feel like Odegaard drops deep and plays the perfect ball. So I don't think Smith Rowe's a good passer, but I think he ain't really got that as much in his locker, where he can play a ball and it's going to beat all the defenders narrowly, but it's going to be the most perfect sweet pass, which Odegaard does have in him. And I feel like if Odegaard's playing them balls to Aubameyang on one side, Saka on the other, Martinelli, I feel like we'd be a very, very strong force. And then up top, I would put Aubameyang. I feel like we have to have him playing.
Yeah, definitely. That is a good team and definitely capable of beating Villarreal quite comfortably, to be honest, because
hopefully
we are a better team than them.
I'd agree.
Of course, there is this Unai Emery factor, mainly because he used to manage us, and also he's very successful in this competition when he was at Seville. So there is that factor. Regarding my team, I'd actually go quite similar to yours. Leno in goal. If Tierney is back, then play him. If not, I will go. If not, I will.
Sorry, bit of light in there.
That's right.
My bad.
If not, I'll go Cedric at left back. If Tierney isn't past fit, and play Chambers at right back. I just don't really want to see.
Wait, who did you say at left back? Sorry,
Cedric.
Okay.
If Tierney isn't past fit, but I would play him even if he's half fit. I think we should risk in that game.
I agree on that one. At least play him for the first 60 or something.
Yeah, and if he's still struggling, then we can bring him off. But don't play Xhaka at left back because it weakens the midfield. And also, it didn't work out last time because one of their players really, really had the joy on that right hand side against him. So don't play Xhaka there. But Xhaka and Partey have to be played in midfield. I'll keep that. And then, it's the middle three. This is where you've got the real selection headache. I actually reckon he will go Saka, Smith Rowe, and Pepe. I actually reckon he will go with that. But I personally would play Martinelli, and I would probably drop Pepe for this bit, and then bring him on a bit later. And then, Aubameyang down the middle. But so a similar team to yours, but just one or two changes. The thing with Odegaard.
Who would you put at centre back? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I don't think you said actually.
I would actually go with you. Go Mari and Gabriel, but I think Holding will probably play. So Holding seems to work better with Mari, but Gabriel is better defender because he's better in the air. Because you saw in the first leg they did a lot of those aerial balls with those crosses, and they weren't really able to deal with them. So I would probably go Holding and Gabriel at the back if I really had to say. But to be fair, as much as I want Mari and Gabriel to play a centre back, I think what we saw in the first leg is the mistake Mikel Arteta did was experiment things, and I just don't really think this is the game. We can't afford to take any risks. We have to get everything spot on. I
agree.
Because we saw last time when we played that false nine, it didn't work. It didn't work. So
you do have to question that.
Yeah, I just don't really think we can afford to take that risk because if Mikel Arteta gets it wrong, he'll be in big trouble. But so this is why I'll probably go Holding and Gabriel.
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough assessment of it. To be fair, obviously we'll have to see what he puts out on the day. I don't think there are many things I would be angry to see. Obviously, there are a few of the likes, but I don't think they'll be getting into the team. Well, yeah, that's really it, to be fair. What are your score predictions for the game?
I'm going to go 1-0. We win on away goals. 1-0. I think it'll actually be a lot. I think it'll be a lot closer than you think. I think Villarreal will sit back quite a bit. Then we'll get one. We'll get one later in the second half. So I'll go over 1-0.
I think we'll win 3-1.
3-1. Yeah, I like that.
I'm going a bit confident now. And as we are doing this podcast, Riyad Mahrez has just scored for Manchester City, probably claiming their place in the final now. I believe they're 4-1 up.
Is it 2-0 because they were 1-0 up?
Yeah, 2-0 now. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Mahrez got his second now. So that'll probably see them in the Champions League final. Hopefully we'll be in the Europa League final, like I said. And by both of our predictions, we should be there. But obviously a prediction is just a prediction. The amount of times I've predicted Arsenal to win and they have let me down.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty confident going into this one, to be honest. Just please, Arsenal, just please win, man. Please win Europa.
Have to do this. And I'm going to ask you this question. If we do get knocked out tomorrow, is it the end for Mikel Arteta? Should he keep his job or should he lose his job?
I think as fans, we definitely know it won't be. I think we've got enough signals to know the board and everyone at the club is happy enough with him and they can see what his plans are and that. However, I'd still keep him in, to be honest. I trust him. I know a lot of fans would disagree with that and thinking, we're 9th in the league, 10th in the league, whatever it is. We've been knocked out by Villarreal, who on paper we are a better team than. The FA Cup was not good enough. The Carabao Cup we lost to Man City, so overall just not a very good season. But I feel like we have got something going very. We will as fans one day look back at and go, "This has been a good ride for us," and we're more than appreciative to him really for bringing our thing up. I really am confident under the future of him, and that is why I think we should keep him. To be fair, obviously, in my opinion, if we had a decent summer and we were in the same position next season, I'd want him gone. But I feel like he still ain't really got all of his players he wants. Too much complacency and letting down from the team. I feel like there's a lot of things are going against him. No fans in the stadium. People might call it excuses. I call them reasons, really. And yeah, I'd still give him a chance. I still would. However, he is on thin ice for the season that's coming up.
Definitely, he is definitely on.
What about for you, though? Honestly,
if you want my honest opinion, I think I can see your reason that you do make some good enough excuses, but I'm sorry, but I think if we lose tomorrow, if you don't go through on Thursday, I'm afraid he loses his job because you've got to think about it. We are Arsenal Football Club, and we shouldn't be down in 10.
Can I ask you a bit of a question? It's a bit of a it's a bit of a thingy one. It's a bit like I'm playing a bit of not really devil's advocate here, but it's kind of in a way. So, Arsenal are 1-0 up or 3-1 up, and in the last minute, we make a massive mistake, like we've seen a lot this season. Are you still going to blame Arteta for that? Or would you still want him to go? Because we've seen many times this season, and we've both obviously been Arteta in very strongly, and you do have to feel sorry for him sometimes because the players are letting him down. But if tomorrow it comes to it, we're in the driving seat, and in the last minute we get let down by a silly pass, something silly, do you still think to yourself, he's got to go, or do you put him on the thin ice kind of section?
I'm afraid I'm a results business guy, so I will have to say gone, because you've also got to think about it in real context. It wouldn't be based on that one game, because let's be honest, and has just not been good enough. The FA Cup exit wasn't good enough, and neither has most of these games this season, especially at home. And I do think, listen, Arsenal shouldn't be in 10th, because we should be
ninth actually.
Yeah, or 9th. We shouldn't be out there. We should be at least in the top 6, competing, trying to get in that top 4. Because if you actually look at the season, no team apart from Man City has really, really set the world alight. No team. So
I think
this is how I look.
In terms of club proportion and how things have worked out, I feel like you have to give a bit of leeway. I think Man United have actually had quite a good season, to be fair, in the league. I think they've not been given enough credit in the league, to be fair, because they are second, and they've not put pressure on City, but they've not let their grip go. Obviously, the draw against Leeds was a bit unfortunate, and I don't think anyone thought they were going to win the league, but they're second. And I believe they are quite a few points clear of teams, not like miles, but they are quite clear of teams right now. And I think you do have to give credit to them. Obviously, less stuff for them. If they finish third, unbelievable. Chelsea, with the money they spent, not fourth, probably not good enough. And then, you got obviously West Ham, Everton, Villa. They're kind of happy where they are, to be fair. I feel like the teams underachieving in the top 10 this season are Arsenal, Liverpool. Tottenham are rubbish, but in their fans' eyes, they'll probably think they're underachieving, eh?
Yeah, you do make some good reasonings. I just think, because if you also look at it, then we're not going to get top 6, and we are the best we will probably finish is 8th, and that was where we did finish last season. So you've also got to look at your season saying, is it an improvement or is it so and so? But anyway, we're going to win. We're going to win on Thursday. So
yeah, we're going to. I love that.
Going to win on Thursday. So hopefully we will not be having this debate.
Actually, also one last question: get to the final. and lose? Arteta in or Arteta out?
Well, you know what? I was like this with Emery. I said Emery should have gone after Baku because he failed to meet his objectives. So I'm sorry. He has to win it. He has to win it for me because
So fair enough.
because of the league position. That's where I'm basing it. If we were like in the top four and we lost the final, I'll say no, keep him. But the fact is, we're not because Emery came fifth and he lost and he got embarrassed in the final. So and I said he had to go, and it got worse in the second season. So I'm afraid, sorry, he
Okay.
has to do it for me, or he loses his job.
I don't disagree with you really, but I still think I'd give him time. But I do see where a lot of people do come from when they say like, if we do lose, we probably have to get rid of him. And I understand it. However, I still feel like he's the man. We should take us really forward, and hopefully under new ownership. To be fair,
Hopefully,
we believe it's believed that Daniel Ek will be making a bid this week, which is obviously very, very exciting for an Arsenal fan point of view. Obviously, the bid, that doesn't mean it's going to be accepted or anything. However, if things come well, we'll have a new owner probably by this time next season.
let's hope so. That'll be the best thing ever to get a new owner. Then and maybe this new owner, if he does come, will probably give Arteta 1 year. Then even fans like me and some of his bigger critics will say, you know what, let's give him that year, because then we know if he hasn't achieved, there will be no new contract, and so if there was to like be a new owner and it happened, then I'll say okay, give him that year. But I think it is likely probably going to be a bit of a long ride because Kroenkes, they're not the easiest of people to deal with. So, but I am optimistic he will sell eventually. I just don't think it'll be anytime soon. But the sounds you are hearing from this Daniel Ek and also with Henri Bergkamp and Vieira lining up as well is sounding promising. And this guy is also an Arsenal fan, so he'll demand success. I think the only thing that you have to be concerned about this Daniel Ek is, has he got the billion? Is he as rich as people think he is? Is he actually as
Well, he claims he has the funds, and from every Arsenal fan's point of view, I'm sure. Let's hope that is true. But to be fair, we've covered most points what we've had to today. Obviously, this is our first video, so if there are people watching, thank you for watching. It's been quite a good one, to be fair. We'll try and release this tonight. Is obviously Tuesday night. We'll hope to have this out probably by Wednesday night. And yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, this time next week or whenever the next video will be coming out, we are happy that Arsenal are in the Europa League final against most likely Man United. And yeah, Seb, any last words, mate?
come on, you Reds?
Come on, you Reds. Peace out, guys.